Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome the management and thank them for giving us this opportunity. We have with us today Mr. Hardik Debar, the CFO, Delta Corp. I would now hand over the call to Mr. Debar for his opening remarks. Over to you, Hardik.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for taking the time out to be on the call. Just wanted to quickly give you a snapshot of the way the year has been as far as Delta is concerned when it comes to the business. As you will see, for the gaming business itself, we have a decent year-on-year growth of about 43% on a gross basis for the gaming segment. We had done a revenue of 405 crores for the 12 months ended 2017. As against that, we have ended up with a revenue of 580 crores. And similarly, on the EBITDA side, excluding the other income, we have grown at about 47-48%, where the EBITDA for the whole year was at 166 crores in 2017. As against that, we are at 247 crores in the current year. On a consolidated basis, if you take gaming separately, the EBITDA for the gaming business for last year was 175 crores, which stands currently at 228 crores, we're registering a growth of about 30%. With regards to the online space, the online business also has grown reasonably well. For the full year, of course, when you see the numbers in the current year, we have a consolidation benefit of the online business for only 9 months since the merger got effective in the month of July. However, when you look at the full 12 months numbers for the online business, we have achieved a revenue of 124 crores to be broken up about 6 crores coming in from Rummy, 5 to 6 crores coming in from Rummy, and about 190 to 120 crores coming in from the poker business. The poker business obviously has grown nearly 40%, given that it was at about 80 odd crores in the year 2017. While, of course, it was not a part of Delta, but the business existed and it was at around 80 crores, which has gone to 120 crores. So, that is the kind of growth that the online space is witnessing. With regards to the margins on the online business, we have currently for the full year, we have registered a EBITDA margin of 32%. However, if you recollect from my previous calls, we had made very clear to all our investors that going forward, we are going to be increasing our sales, promotion and marketing activities on the online side, given that the business is slightly different from our offline business or the casino gaming business. And what basically drives the numbers and the top line as far as the online is concerned is the larger number of registrations and larger number of reach. So keeping in line with that strategy, we have in fact doubled or more than doubled our sales promotion expenses in this quarter. For the first, out of the 9 months that have got consolidated in the Delta's books, for the first 6 months, the business promotion or the sales promotion expenses stood at about 7 odd crores for 2 quarters, which is roughly about 3.5 to 4 crores a quarter. Whereas for the current quarter itself, we have ended up spending something like 8 crores in sales promotion and business promotion. Therefore, we believe that this strategy is kind of paying off because it helps us to restrain and contain the competition. Also with the advent of larger names coming into the Indian market like PokerStars, we will have to embark on this on strategies of this nature to ensure that we not only retain our leadership position but also continue to attract newer and larger audiences and thereby being able to convert them into larger revenue streams and maintain our position of leadership. With regards to the land-based casino situation, as we are all aware, we are still awaiting the formal announcement of the policy, which is pending with the government for whatever the situation is with the chief minister, and we believe that he has been under treatment in the US and is likely to return to the state sooner than expected, and we are hoping that in the next 45 days or so, we should have some clarity and the rollout of the policy happening. With regards to our plan in keeping in sync with the land-based policy, the 100-acre acquisition is complete. We are in the process of various soil testing and other, other activities which are a precursor to the construction activity that we will need to undertake. In the meantime, we are also in discussion with the owners of the adjoining 50-acre parcel, and we believe that we will be able to consummate the transaction by the time the clarity on the policy will also come. On the whole, the revenues have shown a robust growth both on the offline and the online space. And, given the base effect of last year where there was a demonetization in Q3 and Q4, the numbers have not only on account of the base effect, but also genuinely with a lot of robustness coming from the organic growth have resulted into a strong top line and a strong EBITDA. We had in the past, I would not want to call it a guidance, but had indicated that with the kind of quarters in the second quarter or third quarter, when we did the calls, we had said that we were on track from a profitability perspective to ensure doubling our net profit, which meant that we had a 73.75 crore profit in 2017. By that standard, it should have been at about 146, 147 crores of profit. We are happy to say that we have successfully been able to achieve that target, and we have actually surpassed that by a little bit more by reporting 156 crore kind of a profit. Similarly, in terms of the revenue as well, it's been pretty strong when it comes to that. I'm sure there are questions which are revolving around the casino license fee hike that has happened in the state. The latest on that is that there has been a representation that has been made to the government of Goa by all the casino operators on the grounds that, it's a very steep and an unreasonable hike, and have put forth the logic and the rationale as to why would it harm the government in terms of its revenue collection. And we believe, based on the discussions and the interactions that we, as all the operators together, have had with the government, that there is a likely chance of the government coming out with some sort of a, deferment or hold off or some revision which would be favorable and positive as far as the industry is concerned. However, we also believe in the same breath that while this is not something that we are very happy about, the increase in the fees. However, when we dissect and analyze the whole situation, we tend to understand and infer that it is not as bad from a delta perspective as it appears to be optically. And therefore we will not only be able to, absorb these costs by, having a business model change in terms of our revenue mix and entry charges and stuff like that, but also from the fact that given the increase in the license fee, there is bound to be a shakeout and consolidation of sorts in the industry, and there would be a lot of smaller and fringe players who are expected to either, shut down their operations or consolidate with someone or the other in some form and fashion, thereby opening up an entirely new stream of revenue, which till date has not been tapped into, for the simple reason that there was a separate market which existed and a separate operator who was kind of catering to that market segment. Given the fact that overnight some of these would not exist, the demand for the land-based casino client will always be there, and therefore the logical beneficiary of this kind of a situation is obviously going to be the offshore casinos. Now, out of the market, whatever is up for grabs, we as Delta believe that given the leadership position and the position of strength that we have, we will obviously have some advantage and benefit out of that as well. And therefore, while, as I said, we are not happy about the increase, but we are not overtly concerned and overtly worried about the increase as well. And we believe that despite all that, we would still be able to maintain our growth trajectory, and we would continue to demonstrate that 20%, 25% kind of growth over our current year in the coming financial year, and at the same time continue to grow on the bottom line as well. With this, I think I have given a broad overview and summary of the operations and the issues currently that are live as far as Delta is concerned. I'd be happy to take questions from whoever would have some questions and clarifications, if any, are required to be given.
Sure, thank you very much. We will now begin with the question and answer session. Participants who wish to ask questions may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We have the first question from the line of Sanjay Latta from Perfect Research. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, good noon, and congratulations for a good set of numbers. So my first question will be, any updates on the new policy?
Mr. Latta, I am unable to hear you very clearly. I am unable to hear the questions at all. So if you could be a little louder and clearer, it will help me.
Now you will be able to clearly...
Yeah, this is better.
Okay. So any updates on the new policy with regards to the permission to shift to onshore in the casino business?
Is that all?
And the second one is, what is the risk that the Goa government prohibits casino in Goa? How are we trying to mitigate the risk?
So as regard the policy is concerned, in my opening remarks, I did mention that the policy was supposed to be announced during the budget session of the Goa Assembly, which unfortunately had to be cut short on account of the bad health of the Chief Minister. And currently he is undergoing treatment in the US and is expected to return soon to the state. We believe that in the next 45 to 60 days, on the outer side, we should have the formal announcement of the Goa land policy coming through. And we don't see a reason of any concern with regards to the Goa land policy. With regards to your second part of the question as to the risk of the Goa government prohibiting casinos in Goa, I think that's a very far-fetched situation, given that the casino industry as such has become now a very, very integral part of the economic fabric of Goa. And I think more than only the direct contribution that the casino industry does in form of the taxes and the fees that it pays to the government of Goa, there are a lot of other softer issues in terms of the number of employment that is generated, the amount of ancillary development and business development that has happened on account of the industry, the amount of increase in tourism, and so on and so forth. So, whether if this was a question asked to us maybe 10, 12 years ago, we would probably have answered this with a little differently and little caution. But today, shutting down or prohibiting casinos in Goa is not an option. I think whether this government or any other government, I don't think that is an option that exists for the state. So we are not worried on the prohibition of the casino bit at all.
So the second question will be, how difficult is it for new player to receive license for the casino?
Well, there is already kind of a cabinet note or a cabinet statement that was made way back in 2007-8 itself, when the Goa government had opened up the licensing regime then, whereby they had restricted and said that there would be no new licenses that would ever be issued as far as the live gaming licenses are concerned. And the same would be repeated and reiterated in the amendment of the existing act when will happen, and as a part of the movement of the casinos from offshore to onshore. Will further reiterate that it will be only the 6 offshore casinos which will get the live gaming licenses on land, and there is no 7th license that is expected or proposed to be given at all.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Grant Govertson from Union Gaming. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Hardik. Two questions from me. First one, as it relates to the gaming operations segment, the growth we saw in the current quarter, is that being driven? What's the mix driving it? Is it more on the
Grant, I'm unable to. Grant, sorry to interject. I'm unable to hear you clearly at all. So, you'll have to repeat the question for me and be a little more clearer if possible.
Sure. On the gaming operations segment, the growth is being driven by headcount or by spend per customer?
I think it's a steady on both the fronts. There is a small increase in the footfall, whereas there is a small increase also in the win or loss per person, which was, the average was at about 13,000-14,000, is now at about 15,000. So there is a small increase. And the number of people also has been steady, more or less. That's not, and that is why we have not seen too much volatility from quarter to quarter, given the fact that we have seen a steady state kind of situation when it comes to both.
Understood. Great. Congratulations on the results.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kushal Khandwala from Lucky Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. To what extent will be the impact of the new license regulations in amount terms, and how are we planning to recover that extra cost?
So there are two parts to it. Today we are kind of spending about 38-39 crores as license fees in the current scheme of things. Assuming that we continue to service and maintain all the 4 licenses, of course with a little bit of changes in the land-based casino. So let us assume that we bring down the size of the casino from 3,000 square feet to 1,000 square feet where the license fee is only 10 crores. Therefore, I'll have a license fee increase in the land-based casinos from 5 to 10 crores. So 5 crores additional there, and I will have an additional about 46 odd crores on the 3 offshore, 45 odd crores on the 3 offshore casinos. So we are looking at a 50 crore kind of a gross difference in the license fee that is being currently paid as regards what will be paid. Now, if I was to simply take off the tax benefit that I will get in terms of because I will have an increased expenditure, I will have lesser tax outflow. So the net impact on the P&L will be about 30 odd crores on account of the increase in the license fee. Now, in terms of recovery, there are multiple avenues that we have. So today when we are charging a person an entry fee, there is a number of amount of free playing chips that we give to the player that of course is a part of the cost. So instead of giving 1 chip for 1 rupee, we may just reduce the number of chips that we give to a person while he is entering. So that could be one way of saving the cost. Obviously, we can increase the entry fee by a couple of 100 rupees or a few 100 rupees and try to recover the cost in that form and fashion. In addition to this, there are a number of freebies that a lot of players enjoy who are our Club Delta members, or a lot of things that are given away. We could, rationalize those. I would not say that we would cease doing any of those things or close doing those things, but we will do it in a more measured and rational way so as to optimize the costs. This is, or one can only recover so much when it comes to doing it through the cost-cutting exercise. The idea would be that if there is a shakeout that is expected, and if there is casinos on the land which are going to get shut, there is a stream of revenue that is going to be available to be grabbed upon. The idea will be through our business development and marketing teams to ensure that that revenue which was not coming to us and was going to those land-based casinos, which is now going to be available, what is the share of that revenue we are able to grab and control, which effectively will mean that I will try to recover the entire impact of the license fee through additional revenue coming in from the new income stream that opens up, added that with the cost cutting or cost rationalization that we do. I think we should be not only able to absorb the entire impact of the license fee, but also, continue our growth trajectory going forward.
And the second question is, how do we see the online gaming share contribution in the next 3 years in terms of the revenue growth and the operating margin percentage?
So as far as the revenue growth is concerned, I think in the opening remarks I did mention that we have now a strategy whereby we want to try and attract more and more registrations, more and more users to get enrolled with us, thereby increasing the throughput and traffic onto our websites, which ultimately should result in a much faster and a larger revenue growth as compared to what we have been doing. With regards to margins, obviously, if I am going to be spending this kind of money on business activity, business promotion and sales and marketing expense, then obviously the margins are going to come under pressure. But if you look at any online e-commerce model across the globe, the name of the game, as they say, is to attract more eyeballs and get more registrations and get more bodies to get registered with your website. And therefore, currently while we are operating at 35-40% of EBITDA margins, which are very, very healthy and very strong for a online business, will obviously come down. As you would have seen in the current quarter, our EBITDA margins dropped to about 13-14%, given the fact that we more than doubled our expense in the current quarter on the sales promotion and business promotion expenses. So we don't expect them to go down to those levels of 14 and 15%, but we definitely believe that from the 35% that we are currently operating, we should definitely see a dip of the margins coming down to about 25-27% over the period. Because our idea is to try and grow the top line much faster. Therefore, the volumes will compensate in terms of the absolute number of EBITDAs will always be higher than what we have been doing, but you'll see a slight margin compression happening over the period. Secondly, with Rummy being introduced in a much larger way in the current financial year, you would also see a lot of spend happening on that Rummy vertical. We intend to spend anywhere between 20 to 30 crores when it comes to spending on marketing and sales promotion of Rummy. So about 20 odd crores, we believe that would be the kind of marketing spend as far as Rummy is concerned. And obviously fantasy being the third vertical, which we have always said, where we are going to be growing and investing money, but in a very, very measured way, unlike the other fantasy leagues where the burn is much larger. So we are estimating a 5 to 7 crore kind of a burn in the first year as far as fantasy is concerned. So if you put all of these together, we are looking at a decent amount of spend of close to about 50 odd crores that would happen on the marketing side. Given the fact that, these businesses are, or the online business, especially poker, is has enough availability of resources, we don't see a reason why we'll not be able to sustain this kind of spend and continue to grow both at the same time.
All right, perfect. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Poladia from Girik Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for giving the opportunity. Again, question is on online. Can you give us what is like a volume growth of the business and what is the spend per transaction, how it has grown and what it can be in 2-3 years?
So I think broadly the question has been answered in some form and fashion. As I told you that we have done about 124 crores on a 12-month annualized basis for the online space. Our active user base is about 75,000 to 100,000 people, which are the active users who are very, very active and continue to be online almost all the time. Given these numbers, we believe, plus the activities that we have undertaken, we are hopeful that the 30%, 35% growth we have seen in the last couple of years, we should be able to accelerate that growth and continue the growth trajectory at the same 35, 40, 50% kind of numbers going forward.
Okay, and this 75,000, 1 lakh kind of a people, majority would be from India, or it would be...
Well, the site is open only to Indian residents in that form and fashion, because the FEMA laws don't permit me to repatriate money outside. So unless a foreigner has an NRO account and he opens it and pays it through his rupee account, only then can a foreigner participate. Our view is that we would not be catering to any foreigners at this point in time. Okay. And it would all be Indians.
Okay. And what is ongoing cost of development or maintaining this online game?
Well, the online software development and everything is not a very expensive proposition. So every 3 years or every 2 years, when we do an entire overhaul of the back end of the system and everything, it will be a couple of crores. So it's not a major expenditure.
And that would be expensed as and when done, I think.
There are two parts into it. Something which is only a mere upgradation or stuff like that would be expensed out. But if there is a new feature or a new value-added stuff that gets developed, it will be capitalized. But, out of the total expense of 2-3 crores, it'll be very minuscule. So even if we expense out everything, it's not going to matter much. But going by the accounting standard, whatever needs to be capitalized will be capitalized. Whatever needs to be expensed out would be expensed out.
And on sales promotion, is there any restriction to advertise on mass scale or on any of the media platforms?
As far as online is concerned, except for Facebook and Google, where there is a little bit disclarity, given the fact that Facebook and Google are American companies governed by American laws, who don't allow marketing of poker, because America obviously had poker not allowed online till very, very recently. Of course, now in America there are about 3 or 4 states, being New Jersey, Nevada, Delaware and Illinois, which have now permitted poker online. So we believe that even those restrictions that existed as far as poker is concerned for online advertising would be done away with. Whereas everything else, because it is not gambling, it is a game of skill, there are no other restrictions as far as other Indian media portals are concerned.
Okay. So you can do it on this television also, the advertisements, if you want.
Yes. Okay. Like you see Dream 11, which is the Fantasy League portal, advertising through Mahendra Singh Dhoni as the brand ambassador. So,
okay, I got it. One final question: what is the gross debt on the book?
We are net cash. There is no debt on the books at all. We have, as we speak,
gross debt.
There is no gross debt. There is no debt at all on the books.
There is a short-term borrowing in the balance sheet?
Nothing. There is no short-term borrowing in the balance sheet also.
Okay. Okay. Great. That's all from my side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chintan Modi from Motilal Oswal.
Yeah, hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So one thing I wanted to understand that in terms of licenses, what would be the restriction on the number of tables that one can have?
There is no restriction, Chintan. Currently, the law is silent on there is no mention of the size of the casino or the number of tables, and we don't see any reason why there would be any change in the new license which would be granted to us in lieu of the giving up of the offshore license. So we don't see, and we don't believe that there would be any restrictions on number of tables or the size of the casino.
Sure. And if you can just let me know, like, what would be today, in the current situation, what would be the weekday to weekend ratio in terms of revenue?
Weekday to weekend ratio in terms of revenue, as in, I can tell you in the number of people, because, this is not a business where, there are times where you have lesser number of people, but high quality gamblers and high quality players, they may give the same revenue as on a weekend where you would have, say, 1,200 people, but would give the same revenue as on a weekday where you will have 600 people. So it's very difficult to give you a ratio as such, because you can't have a ratio of that kind.
Sure, got it. And any updates on the Daman casino?
No, nothing. It's status quo. We are working on it, and we are hopeful that it will happen sooner rather than later. It is an option value, which we have said it is the joker in the pack. The day it happens, it's going to change the game for everybody.
Okay. But if you can just highlight, where it would be stuck as of now, anything, any progress that has been...
I told you there is nothing more to add than what we've always shared and already shared.
Okay. Sure, that's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sachin Shah from GGICO. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Adi. Congratulations for the fantastic numbers. First of all, I have a couple of questions. Considering the fact that, the way you are hoping that the land casino policy may be through, let's say, by June in the next budget session, by what time then, probably 3 years or 4 years, by what time we can see the revenue from after the transfer of this casino? That is one. Second, because of this increase in the license fee, is there any possibility of a buyout of a smaller casino which could not bear this cost, and probably Delta being a prominent player can buy this out? Third, cash on hand after the land acquisition of 100 acres, as you said. And fourth, update on the Nepal casino.
Okay, so I'll go in the reverse order. Nepal casino should be ready by the end of this calendar year, and we are hopeful that we'll have at least 3 to 4 months of operations from the Nepal casino coming in the current financial year. So that's on Nepal Kathmandu. As you will be aware that we have signed a lease agreement. We are in the final stages of signing the finalized lease agreement with the JW Marriott in Kathmandu, which is coming up, and that's how we will have about 3 to 4 months of operations. With regards to cash on hand, as on date, we are sitting with 451 crores of cash, which is after repayment of all the debt, after paying off 120 crores for the acquisition of the 100 acres of land plus stamp duty, etc., etc. We are 451 crores cash available on the books. With regards to the license fee increase and buyout of a casino, I don't think we are in the market to buy out any of the casinos, and secondly, the land-based casinos. So the guys who are going to get impacted are the smaller land-based casinos. Now, the license obviously is with the hotel, because the law is that you have to be a 5-star hotel and you can operate the casino within the 5-star hotel. So what may happen is that most of these licenses that are being operated in these 5-star hotels are by operators who are, individuals or a group of people coming together and operating. So it may just happen that somebody's arrangement with the hotel may cease to exist, given that he is not able to sustain that. And if we believe that that's a lucrative spot or a good location to be in, we may enter into an agreement with that hotel and set up a land-based casinos. Otherwise, we believe that once these land-based casinos, whichever, if at all, go out of operations, the revenue that they were, or the market that they were catering to, or the revenue that they were generating, obviously is up for grabs. And we believe that Delta, being a substantial player in the Goa market, will obviously get the benefit of being able to capture a lion's share of this new stream of revenue and a new stream and a new market that is being made available to it. Your question on the land-based policy, which...
Yeah.
So assuming that, as you rightly said, assume that if the land-based policy is formally announced in June, the policy itself is going to have a sunset clause in it, where it is saying that 36 months from the date the policy is announced is when all the casinos which are offshore have to compulsorily shut their operations and at the end of 3 years be operational on land. So assuming that it is 2018 June, 2021 June would become the automatic sunset date. So you should be able to see the revenues coming in from thereafter.
Okay, great. That's it from my side. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Yash Agarwal from Crest Capital.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So the question was on casino gaming division. So, this year we've seen, about a 40% spike in revenues. But then, our EBITDA margins have compressed by 1 or 2 percentage points. Given this is a very fixed cost driven business, so, what has led to that?
Yes, so assuming you're absolutely right, if my cost wouldn't have increased in a few areas that have actually, you would have seen the margins expanding. But the fact of the matter is I have recruited about 400 additional people, because what has happened is Delta Royale, given the growth that has happened in the visitations and in the sheer size of business, if I was out of the 125 tables, if on an average I was operating 80 tables, today now I am on an average operating entire 125 tables on a daily basis. So to cater to that pent-up demand, further we have Caravella which became operational. Therefore, we need people and staff for that as well. So about 400 additional staff has been recruited, which obviously results into increase in costs in terms of manpower cost. Plus, we have had, in the last quarter, as you are aware, we have undertaken some business promotion and sales promotion activity. Given all that, there are costs which have also gone up not in the same proportion it would have otherwise in a steady state gone up, and therefore that has resulted into. So if you look at my revenue growth net of GST on a year-on-year basis, we have grown about 33-34%, whereas if you compare my operating costs, they have gone up by about 36%. So that's where the 2-3% compression in the margins have come in. These are going to obviously get regularized over a period of time, given the fact that, I'm not going to recruit any more people, or the license or the power and fuel cost which has gone up is only going to come down, hopefully with crude cooling off, if at all. So those are the things that have impacted. Otherwise, you're absolutely right. It's a high operating leverage business, and if it was a steady state of expense, it would not have compressed.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So that's my only question. Yes.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ramesh Mantri from White Oak Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi, Ramesh.
Yeah. Hi, Hardik. Does it make sense for you to shut down Delta Caravella, because that's a very subscale operation, and considering the 30 crore license fee, it may not remain viable at these levels of license fees, or there's a lot of strategic value in having a license?
So I think, one, it is not a subscale operation anymore. For the current year, we've done about 70 crores, 65 to 70 crores in revenue, and we are growing. So, it's as big, it's getting as close to Delta Jack in terms of revenue as it can, and at a much faster pace. Second portion of the question, I think, is an answer itself, which you yourself have kind of given, that the value of the license is tremendously high and invaluable, if I may say so, to give up a license. So come what may, I don't think any of the 3 offshore casino licenses are something which we are even thinking of giving up at any point of time, because in lieu of the 3 offshore licenses, we will get 3 land-based licenses. So why would I want to give any one of that up?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mr. Anubhav Gupta from MK Global. Please go ahead.
Hardik, I've got a few questions which have been asked by a few of the FI investors who couldn't join the call. May I ask some of those?
Please go ahead.
All right. So first is, what would be the total visitations for casino business last year, and what will be the net revenue net of GST?
So when you say net revenue net of GST, my gross revenue for the whole year was 580 crores. Net of GST would be about 485 crores.
Sure. And what would it translate into number of visitations approximate?
So we are looking at about 1100 to 1200 people coming in, which is what we have been saying, that that's the number of people that we get on a daily basis.
Sure. What will be the breakup of revenue between high rollers and mass market?
I think, we have said in the past that we are a very, very mass market or a retail-focused business. Just 1 second.
Participants, please stay connected. We are reconnecting the line for the management. Participants, please stay connected. We are reconnecting the management. Participants, thank you for patiently holding your lines. We have the line from Mr. Hardik Debar reconnected.
My apologies, my call got dropped. Sorry for that. Anubhav, sorry if you could repeat your question.
Yeah, sure. So my question was on the breakup of revenue between mass market and high rollers.
Yeah, so, typically, as you are aware, we are clearly a more retail-focused player rather than a VIP-focused player. And I think that is one of the reasons, as we have said in the past, that our resurrection post the demonetization was fast and quick. Therefore, if you do a broad breakup, I think our dependency on the so-called high rollers, if at all there are any, would be anywhere between 7-8% to a maximum of 10%. Everything else comes from my retail footfalls or walk-ins and the Club Delta members.
Sure. In FY18, have you taken any price hike for the entry fees?
Not to the best of my knowledge. We've always had multiple packages, and we used to, decide as to, based on the footfall and the visitation, to market a certain package on a particular day vis-a-vis on other days. Other than that, I don't think we've taken a hike as such in the entry fees as such.
Sure. Your hospitality revenue has been growing quite steadily. What will be the breakup between Daman and Goa in FY18 fiscal?
So out of the 58 crores net revenue that we have done, Daman would be close to about 37-38 crores, and balance would come in from Goa.
Right. And last question is on the balance sheet. So as on March 2018, was there any asset pertaining to the new project, which is land?
Not in, except for the land that we would have acquired, nothing else.
Okay, sure. That's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Ugale from MK Enterprises. Please go ahead. Mr. Manish Ugale, you may go ahead with the question. Your line is on talk mode. We'll move to the next question. The next question is from the line of Vikas Bothra from Urban Kitchen. Please go ahead.
Hi, Hardik. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Hardik. The question was regarding the setting up of new casinos. So as you are aware, there are 3 licenses which you will be getting on the land.
Right.
So are we looking at setting up 3 casinos on land, or are we, because as there is no size limitation?
No, we will be setting up 3 casinos. We genuinely believe that there is a clear segmentation of market required to be done to address different strata and different types of customers, and therefore we will obviously have 3 casinos targeting 3 different segments and thereby segmenting the market and trying to cater to every strata of the market.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chitrangda Kapoor from Samiksha Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the question.
Good afternoon, Chitrangda.
Sir, I have just missed one data point. You mentioned that for the full year, the online gaming business did how much of revenue, sir?
So, what is coming into the books of Delta Corp in the P&L side is about 79 crores. But if you look at the 12 months, the first 3 months which have not come into the consolidation of P&L and have gone as the opening balance in the balance sheet, if you look at the revenue with Rummy put together would be about 124 crores.
So that means for the first quarter, sir, which has not got consolidated, that first quarter online did about 45 crores of revenue.
No, not really, because 78 crores is the net after, knocking off a certain bonus and certain stuff. So if you look at the gross number would be about 88, 89 crores. In the first quarter, we did about 30 crores on poker, and Rummy did about 5 crores in the whole year.
Okay. So, okay, I'm sorry. 30 crores is from the poker, which has not got consolidated. And
That's
5
right.
crores is Rummy, which has also...
5 crores of Rummy has got consolidated. So about, if you look at the gross level, including Rummy, would be close to about 86 crores, 87 crores. And then you add the bonus and some, the rake back, as we call it, which basically is not accounted for under Ind AS, as I had explained to you earlier. You need to add that portion back, and the 30 crores you add, you will come to a 124 crore number.
Okay, so the run rate is basically for quarter for online is about 30 crores, so there's no seasonality to it.
Well, in fact, it is improved. From 30 crores, we have gone to 36 crores now, which means from 10 we have gone to 12.5 crores a month, and we are hoping to be able to achieve a 14 crore, 15 crore kind of a run rate going forward.
Okay, that's helpful, sir. Thank you for clarifying. That's it from my end.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mangesh Padang from Param Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for taking my question. Sir, you had mentioned additional 50 crores gross difference in license fee under the new regime.
That's right.
And that includes your assumption of reducing the size of the 2 land-based casinos which are on...
Not 2. We have only 1 land-based casino in Goa.
One, sorry. So,
yes, that includes the reduced size.
So you would be doing that in this quarter, or you would just wait for some clarification or revision in the fees or license fees?
In any case, we can't pay till the government clarifies, because the representation is already made. The government has to either reject or accept the representation, and once communicate to us conclusively as to what they are finally giving us the decision. Okay. Once that is done, we will have to pay the fees based on whatever is the final call taken by the government. As regards reducing the size is concerned, obviously it will be dependent, assume that if the license fees are not increased and they are deferred or status quo, then obviously we'll continue to operate the casino in the same size. However, if the license fees deferral, the hike is remaining intact, then obviously we'll reduce the size of the casino.
Okay. And sir, what would be the capex for MOPA for 100 acres that we have now and the additional 50?
So, in terms of acquisition of land, whatever was required to be paid for the 100 acres has already been paid for, which is close to about 118 or 120 crores. And for the balance 50 acres, we believe that we'll end up spending another 60-70 crores.
And for construction?
Well, construction, we have a plan which obviously is an elaborate plan for the whole 150 acres. We believe that in phase 1 it would be close to about 3,000 crores. However, we have said in the past, and I reiterate that as far as Delta is concerned, the capital commitment of Delta would be restricted to anywhere between 800 to 1,000 crores, depending upon what assets we intend to own directly. Obviously, all the casino assets will be directly owned.
Right.
The entire land will be directly owned, and we will end up owning some portion of some hotel rooms. And thereafter, in every development, Delta will participate by contributing its land as its equity, and having partners who will bring in the financial capital or the financial resources, and somebody else who will come and operate. So, in case of a hotel, it will be either a Banyan Tree or a Ritz-Carlton who will come and operate the hotel, whereas in Singapore, Temasek or GIC or ADIA or someone like that, or some real estate fund will come and invest in the hotel.
Got it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. We'll take that as the last question. I would now like to hand the conference back to Mr. Devar for any closing comments.
Well, nothing much. I think we've had a good interaction and we have covered almost most of the areas of concern or doubts that most investors or people would have had. Once again, we reiterate and I reconfirm in our belief that the business is in a situation where we'll be able to grow at the same trajectory that we have been growing. Online, as I said, is the growth engine, but obviously the margins will come under pressure given the new strategy and the initiative that we are looking at achieving faster growth. But on the whole, I think we are very well poised for continuing the strong and robust display of numbers that we have done in this year and the last year, and we'll continue doing that in the future is what I believe.
Thank you very much. On behalf of